Welcome to our YGLN March 9th Masterclass. This Masterclass is themed Mastering the Art of Cover Letters for Scholarships. Yes.
All right, my name is Peter, and I'll just get into our presentation. I know much time is spent. So I will be taking us through this session, and we're going to be taking through cover letters and motivational letters. I am so happy to be joining us here this evening. I am joining us from Budapest, so it's 4 p.m. here. It's so nice that we have people joining from Ghana, we have people joining from Kenya. I know there are 2 hours ahead of this place, people joining from South Sudan and different parts of the world. So yeah, this is me. Currently, I am a local insight specialist at Transion Holdings. Transion is a mobile phone manufacturer. It manufactures phones like Tecno, Infinix, Itel. So if you are using such phones, then yes, it comes from us. It's a Chinese company. So basically, I do research in that company. And currently, the reason why I am here in Budapest, I am studying my master's in international economy and business. I am studying international economy and business under the Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship. And previously, before coming here, I was at the University of Nairobi in Kenya. So I am so happy to see Kenyans also joining us from in this session this evening. So yeah, what we are going to talk about this evening is I'm going to start with an introduction of our topic. Then we're going to go through cover letters and see the difference between cover letters and motivational letters. Then we're going to cover motivation letters and SOP, statement of purpose. Then we're going to do some mistakes to avoid when coming up with your letters. And finally, we're going to do how to restructure the sentences. Yeah, so we start from the motivation letter and the cover letters. Many people do not know the difference between these two. So perhaps when you're asked to come up with a cover letter, you either come up with a motivation letter or something of that sort. So to start with, motivation letter, basically, this is primarily used to explain why you're applying for a particular position, a program, or an opportunity. And it mainly emphasizes your motivation, your career objective, how the opportunity fits into your personal and professional development. So it's a little bit extensive compared to the cover letter. So the cover letter, it typically accompanies your resume or your CV when you're applying for a job. And it focuses on your professional skills, your achievement, and your experiences that is relevant to the job description. So this evening, I'll be focusing more on the motivation letter, but slightly I'll be also talking about the cover letter. So we start with a job cover letter. What does it entail? What are some of the things that you need to do while coming up with your cover letter? And feel free to ask me any questions at any particular point when I'm doing this presentation. You can ask via the question and answer button, of you can put a chat. I'll be able to respond to it so that we can be moving together. So we start from the cover letter. What is the structure of the cover letter? I know most of us have always written the cover letter, whether you are in your undergraduate, you're in your postgraduate, or you're working somewhere. This is something that you have done at some point in your life. So basically, it starts with the introduction. And when I talk about the introduction, I talk about the header, your contact, the date, employer's contact information. Now, this is something that I'm not going to focus on this evening because it's something that you can find on ChatGPT or anywhere else. Then there's always the ref button where you write the job title and the reference number of the job posting. Then you go to the salutation where you write dear sir, dear madam, or dear hiring manager, or something of that sort. I think that's just pretty much very normal. But then we come to the introduction part. Here is where you now start by stating the job that you are applying to, and you express your enthusiasm. So what I did here, I came up with one of the cover letters that I'd used before so that you can learn from whatever I did before. And this was just a basic introduction that I wrote for that job application that I was doing. This was for an internship at the World Bank. And you can see there that I am writing that I am excited to apply for the Poverty Economist Internship Job Ref 31160 within the East African and Southern FE region poverty and equity team at the World Bank. So when I read that in the first sentence, I already know what I am applying for. Many people are applying for different jobs in the World Bank, and when they call people to apply for internship, there's a lot of internship opportunities. So it's very, very important that you specify what you're applying for. So as a graduate student in international economy and business at Corvinus University of Budapest, I am so eager to contribute my analytical skills, field experience, and passion for poverty reduction to support your mission of creating a world free poverty. So I have introduced myself and I have expressed my enthusiasm and I've said how that aligns to the mission of the World Bank just in the first paragraph of the introduction. So it's very, very important that you do those two when you're doing the introduction. Now we move to the body of the paragraph. Now in the first paragraph, you need to be able to highlight your relevant skills and achievements, to quantify your achievements, and to align your skills with the company needs. And here I'm going to call, I don't know if their microphone is enabled, but Barak, if you can hear me, I would love you to read this paragraph, starting from my academic and training. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. You are very much audible.
Yes, I'd love Barak to
Okay.
read this part. My academic training, Barak. All right, as we wait for Barak, Emmanuel, you can help us read this part, my academic training. All right.
Emmanuel, you are allowed, so you can read out now.
Okay. So my academic training and 3 years of practical research and project management experience have honed my analytical capabilities. For example, I interviewed over 10 government stakeholders in Rwanda as a research assistant on the East African community's role in the Africa Continental Free Trade Area after project. I supported data analysis of reports and data sets to assess the potential economic impact of the AFTA on EAC trade, which is projected to increase intra-African trade by 52%. This project deepened my understanding of trade dynamics, regional integration, and African economic policy. Additionally, I compiled and analyzed over 50 data points, enhancing my proficiency in handling complex data sets and creating data visualization to support evidence-based policy recommendations. Experience will be invaluable in contributing to the World Bank's poverty alleviation efforts through data solutions.
Thank you so much, Manuel. Yeah, so basically that is now in your second paragraph. You're now trying to relate your experience, what you've been able to do with what World Bank is trying to do. So in the first paragraph, you've introduced yourself. Now in the second paragraph, now tell us how your experience and what you've been able to do aligns to the professional work that World Bank is trying to do. Now, moving to another part of the body paragraph, you also try again to align your skills to the company needs. And basically here, I try to tell them about the skills that I have. For example, I say that I have skills in Stata, in R, in SQL, and I have extensive experience in this. And I say that I'm also particularly excited about the opportunity to contribute to the SADC Statistics Capacity Project and the Fiscal Policy Analysis within the World Bank. So I try to relate everything that I have, whether because this job basically needed somebody with some background in statistics. So I try to relate that with whatever they are trying to do. So you can see that I even mention what they're doing with the STRADAC statistics capacity project. So if somebody's trying to read this and is part of the World Bank, they can see that I have knowledge of whatever they are trying to do. Now, moving forward, you come to the conclusion of your cover letter, because cover letter should basically just be one page, no more than one page. It's just a short letter. So in the conclusion, you basically reiterate your enthusiasm for the role of the company, express your willingness for an interview, and you also end with a call of action, such as looking forward to discussing your application. So basically, that is just an overview of how to come up with a cover letter. But most importantly, today we'll be talking about graduate admission process and how to apply for scholarship and different scholarships. So that's going to be the most things that we're going to be discussing this evening. So we start with a motivation letter or an SOP. When I write SOP, I mean the statement of purpose. What does this mean? And I say that it's written for scholarship organizations, for example, MasterCard Foundation, Mandela Rhodes Foundation. It's also written to scholarship committees of different schools. It can also typically accompany admission documents during admission application. So whenever you want to get admitted to a school, you can either write this to the school directly, or you can write this to the scholarship. Basically, they're trying to see, do you fit in their program? So that's basically what we're going to try to answer today. And here I talk about the sample requirements of schools and the scholarship application procedures. So you do know that when you're applying for different scholarship, every scholarship has its own procedure when you're doing the application. So I start with the Mandela Rhodes application, where basically when you're applying to the Mandela Rhodes scholarship, you have to apply to the scholarship first, and you also apply to the school differently. So you will be doing two different applications. You'll be applying, for example, if you're applying to the University of Cape Town, you will apply to the University of Cape Town to be granted an admission. Then you'll apply to the Mandela Rhodes Foundation scholarship for the scholarship. So it's very important that you get the difference. But when you're doing a MasterCard Foundation scholarship, especially for the University of Oxford, for Cambridge, and for Edinburgh, then, or for CNSPO, your application will accompany the application for the school. So it will be in one system, and that is the system for admission, either for Oxford or Cambridge. So that one is done together. So when you're applying under the funding option, you will put your essay for MasterCard Foundation. Then for the Chipendia Mahangarikam scholarship, which I am part of, when you're doing the scholarship application, it will be done the same with the admission application. So it will be together. So it's important to know these processes so that you can know what to put in your SOP or your motivation letter. Now we move to the introduction. And talking about the introduction, I will be taking us through 3 different essays of different people who have been admitted to these scholarships. I will be taking you through one person who applied to the Stipendia Mangarikam scholarship, which I will be taking you through my own essay that I wrote. I will also be taking you through an essay that was written by somebody who is in University of UC Berkeley in California, and another one for University of Cape Town for the Mandela Rhodes Foundation scholarship. So it's my hope that when we are able to finish the 3, then you'll be able to find some tips on how to write your own SOP. So in the introduction, you might be asking yourself, now, how do you start when doing these applications? And it's important that you start with a hook, some strong opening that captures the attention. And this could be your personal story. It could be an achievement or a powerful quote relevant to your journey. So it's important because these people read lots of applications. For example, Shivning scholarship, more than 6,000 people across the world apply for this scholarship. And there were less than 1,000 people in the very end. So it's very, very important that you are able to know how to make sure that in your introduction, it captures the attention of the reader. Then it's also important to state your purpose. What are you writing for? Which scholarship? Now, typically, this might not be a requirement for all scholarship, because if your statement of purpose is just part of other documents that you're submitting, then you do not need to introduce yourself. But if it is just the single document that you're sending, then it's important that you introduce yourself in the start. But if it's just one of the documents, then it's not a must that you introduce yourself. Then you can also just give a brief overview of your academic background. But we'll be looking at the examples so that we are able to know whatever we are doing. All right, now here is an introduction of a sample of 2 essays. Like I said, one is for Stipendium Hungaricum, and this is basically my own essay. Another one is for a friend who is in UCL Berkeley, who applied for PhD in molecular biology. And then there will be a third one for University of Cape Town in South Africa for Mandela Rhodes Foundation Scholarship. So again, I would love again to call either Emmanuel or somebody who has the microphone on just to read for us the first introduction for Stipendium Hungaricum Masters in Economics, starting with during the final year. Emmanuel?
Okay. So during the final year of my undergraduate studies at the University of Nairobi, a course on institutional economics under the guidance of Dr. Socrates Majun opened my eyes to the critical role of trust in international trade. Our term paper, focusing on East Africa's interregional trade, unearthed major challenges within the East African Community framework, hindering optimal agricultural trade, particularly considering the immense potential of agricultural trade for regional development. Ultimately, the term paper won the Best Paper Award, but it left me yearning for change.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel.
Okay.
So that was my essay for my scholarship here in Budapest. And from that introduction, you are able to see that my interest is in trade. So when a professor reads that first introduction, he's able to see that this student wants to study trade. That is where his interest lies. And in the last sentence, when I say that the term paper won the Best Paper Award, but it left me yearning for change. So when this professor or when this person is part of the scholarship committee will be reading my second paragraph, then he is hoping to see what kind of change did I put in the second sentence. So it's very important that in the first paragraph, you are able to put a hook on the person who is reading your essay. Then in the second essay that I'll also be taking us through is for somebody who is in UC Berkeley, a PhD in molecular biology. And what this person did was he shared his personal story. So in the introduction, he says that when my older brother attempted to take his own life, my family gave me one sentence as a weak explanation for why Sarah, it's an issue with his brain, a chemical imbalance. Although I was only 12, this moment set the course for my future study of neuroscience. I craved an understanding of how chemical changes in my brother's brain could ultimately impact his thoughts and feelings. By the time I began college, this curiosity had led me to the vast, beautiful, and frustrating unknowns of neuroscience. My subsequent exploration into molecular neuroscience solidified my intention to pursue a PhD and dedicate my career to eliminating the brain's underlying molecular mechanism. Yeah, so basically, from that point, we are able to see that for this guy from Berkeley, he's sharing his story about his brother who committed suicide. And basically, this is the reason why he's applying to this scholarship. This is the reason why he decided to study this PhD in neuroscience. So from these two authors of these two essays, we're able to see that they have left a hook on the person who is reading their SOP, which is very, very important. Now, when we move to the next, now this is for Mandela Rhodes Foundation Scholarship. Remember, we are still talking about the introduction. And when we look at those two other scholarships, those two essays will be read by professors of the different schools. But now here is an example of an essay which will be read by a scholarship committee. And Mandela Rhodes Foundation Scholarship is a scholarship that aims to give an opportunity to those people who come from disadvantaged backgrounds. So it's important to know that this scholarship will mostly be talking about how this person was able to confront the challenges of accessing education. So that is very, very important to know. What is the assessment criteria of a specific scholarship? Is it your grades, or is it maybe fee challenges or something of that sort? You need to know the assessment criteria. So for Mandela Rhodes Foundation Scholarship, you must be coming from some challenged background. So as you can see from this introduction, which again, I would request Emmanuel to help me read again this introduction.
Okay. Growing up in a family reliant on subsistence farming, economic hardship was a constant reality. Despite my family's relentless efforts, financial limitations cast a shadow over my educational ambitions. Nonetheless, excelling in the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education earned me a spot at a prestigious national school, an opportunity nearly lost due to unaffordable fees. The turning point came when the held back education fund stepped in, covering my educational expenses and lifting the financial burden that threatened my high school journey. Later, as I pursued my undergraduate studies at the University of Nairobi, support from the Higher Education Loans Board and additional aid from HBEF became my lifeline, enabling me to stay on course toward my aspirations.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. So like I said, scholarships are very different. So it's important to know what is the assessment criteria for different scholarship. This scholarship, you basically need to show that you have some need. You are coming from some challenged background. But you're not supposed to come here and lament about how poor you are or something. So it's important to know which kind of words will you use. So you can see from the very, very first sentence, this student is not saying, I come from a poor background. But you can say he uses some words which are friendly when somebody is reading. Now we move to the second paragraph, where basically you'll be sharing about your academic achievements and your background. So here, what you do is you highlight the relevant academic achievements and awards. You can mention the specific courses, projects, or research that align with the scholarship focus. And you align them to what you want to study or the scholarship. So that's very, very important. So again, we now move to the second paragraph of these two scholarship essays. So I will be reading the one for UCL Berkeley for the PhD molecular biology. So the student says that at the University of North Carolina, my surface level fascination with the brain evolved in a deeper intellectual interest in synapse regulation. In Dr. Patricia's Manet's lab, I characterized two neural cell adhesions molecules, which we hypothesized might have a mole in regulation synapse remodeling. I was particularly intrigued by the homology between these two receptors, and I sought to uncover similarities in their signaling pathways. To test these theories, I pioneered our lab's analysis of neuronal morphology and synaptic biochemistry using knockout mice. My biochemical investigations demonstrated little signaling overlap between the two receptors and raised the exciting possibility that different cell adhesions molecules might selectively eliminate individual synapses. My discovery of these two receptors functions and their exclusive signaling pathways led to two publications and a manuscript that is currently under review. Now, this is a student who is applying for a PhD place in this university under this scholarship. So this student meaning has done some research, maybe during his master's or some sort of research. So it's important when somebody is admitting you for PhD, then you must have done some research that relates to what you're applying to. So that's the reason why this person is highlighting the research that he has done, he's highlighting the publications, and he's highlighting some of the labs that he was able to work on. Now, on the second essays, which is done for Stipendium Hungaricum Scholarship for Corvinus University of Budapest in Masters in Economics, you'll see the difference in these two essays. So Emmanuel, I'm calling you back again to help us read this one from Eager to Find Solutions.
Okay. So, eager to find solutions, I collaborated with my lecturer on a project exploring the export potential of EAC countries within the African Continental Free Trade Area after conducting qualitative assessments involved engaging stakeholders in Kenya and Rwanda, including Rwanda's National Agricultural Exports Development Board, and ultimately coming up with a research paper which was presented during the annual Africa Economic and Finance Conference and won the Best Paper Award.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. So you can see the difference in these two essays. The first one is talking more about molecular biology. The second one is talking more about trade. So from the first sentence, from the first paragraph, you left a hook on the people who are reading the essays, telling them what to expect. Then in the second paragraph, you're now saying, what did you do? What have you done on this subject? Why? Why you? What have you done? So basically, that is what you're trying to answer. And now that takes us to the professional experience. So when we are talking about the professional experience, are you able to summarize the relevant work, the internships, the volunteer experiences that you have had, highlight the achievement, the responsibility, and the skills gained, and to connect your experiences to your goals and the goals of the program? And when we move to the motivation and the goals, and this is what can break you or can give you the scholarship or the admission. When you talk about your goals, we need to see, you need to basically answer the question, why you? Because 1,001 students applying for this scholarship, but why you? Does your goals align to the goals of the program? So again, we go again to the different essays that we've been looking at. So from the one for UC Berkeley, the person who is going to do molecular biology, he says that joining the University of California, Berkeley Molecular and Cellular Biology program would allow me to develop the research experience and the intellectual framework necessary to conduct cutting edge and high quality research. Specifically, I will be honored to work with Dr. Koru Saijo to continue investigating the molecular mechanisms of microglia in neurodegeneration. Additionally, I would appreciate working with Dr. Helen Beitup on neuron mTOR signaling in neurodevelopmental disorders. So you can see that this person did his research. He knows some lecturers from this department. He knows their current research. He knows whatever they're doing, and he knows his research is relevant to this department. So that is very, very important. It's very, very important that you know that whatever you're doing is relevant to that specific university at that specific time. And for the one for CUB Hungary, he says that the MSc in International Economy and Business at the University of Debrecen is in Hungary greatly interests me as it resonates deeply with my aspirations. Its specialization in trade and globalization, notably Dr. Adam Marcus' work on international trade policy, particularly his research on border effects in trade, resonates deeply with my ambitions. I aim to extend his research to encompass Africa's situation and its impact on Africa continental free trade area, addressing the low intra-African trade. Now, from these two paragraphs, you are able to see that these students did their research. They know the people who are teaching in these departments, and they know that whatever they're doing is relevant to the department at this particular time. So that is very, very important. So this again is for the Mandela Rhodes Foundation Scholarship. It's a continuation of whatever I did there before. So he continues to say, as a Secretary General of the Hildberg Education Fund Alumni Group, I discovered a powerful avenue for societal contribution, a small act jamii. We have witnessed the collective strength of our alumni pulling together our limited resources to make a difference. Presently, this initiative has facilitated support for 20 deserving and promising students, guiding them on the educational journey towards completing high school. The collective action of alumni showcases the powerful ripple effect of benevolence, fostering hope and unlocking opportunities for those in dire need. So I will not complete that, but you can see the differences between these three continuations. The first two speaks more about the school which they are written to, but this one is more about the society, is more about what you have contributed, it's more about impact. It's because that is the assessment of this scholarship. Now we proceed, and again, this one is a continuation of the Mandela Rhodes Foundation. He says that my vision is to make education accessible to every child, regardless of their financial background. Pursuing a master's in economic development at the University of Cape Town is a vital step towards this goal, yet the financial challenges are significant. A scholarship from MRF would be instrumental in realizing this dream. I am particularly drawn to the MRF's commitment to cultivating ethical leaders who drive transformational change in Africa. And it continues in that way. So it puts a lot of emphasis on the scholarship organization, while the first two put a lot of emphasis on the schools, on the lecturers, and on the research. So it's important to know the difference between the three. Now we move forward to the conclusion, where we basically just reiterate your enthusiasm for the program, express gratitude for the opportunity to apply, and end with a very confident and a forward-looking statement. And there are examples here. I'll read the second one. This opportunity transcends individual achievement. It embodies a collective commitment to effecting positive change in trade dynamics, contributing to a more prosperous relations between Kenya, Hungary, and the world. I will not read the first one. You can read it at your own time. I'll make sure this is sent to you. So in this next part, I'll be basically taking us through the common mistakes that you need to avoid when you are doing a scholarship applications. So we are starting with this one. Do not just write an essay in 3 days and submit to a panel of professors who have been plying their trade for decades. So yeah, assuming you want to apply for a university that delves in matters on trade, and you just wake up one morning, you scribble something on paper, and you send it to a university of professors. These people, they interact with trade on a daily basis. My friend, you will be sure that you're gonna fail in that scholarship. The best advice that I can give you is that start writing that essays even 6 months before. Share with your peers, share with people who have gotten successful admission in different scholarships. Let them put their comments, let them help you to restructure the essays. It's very, very important so that when it finally reaches the professors, it finally reaches the scholarship organizations, then it is something which is worth reading so that you do not fail at the first glance of your essay. The second one is, we say that humility is good and appreciated, but when it comes to your application, please market yourself in the best possible way. Do not withhold yourself from saying the things that you've accomplished in life. Then do your research, get data, and don't write with a layman. You are a budding intellectual. Then know the indices of assessment, like I have been saying all through. For example, Commonwealth is interested about good grades, so do not spend a lot of time lamenting on how poor you are. So in this very last slide, we are talking about what is wrong with these sentences. And I don't know if it's possible to unmute the microphone of different people here, Emmanuel, so that we can get some responses from them. I'll be putting some sentences here, then you guys can tell me what's wrong with them.
Yes, Mr. Peter. So anyone at all can contribute so long as you raise your hand. you'll be
Okay.
enabled to make your contribution. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we start with this one. I graduated with first class honors. And you might be asking yourself, how different could this person have written this sentence? And now this one is the answer. You know, you can write that you have graduated with first class honors, maybe from University of Ghana, Legon. But how many people graduated with first class honors from across the world? From the University of Nairobi, from University of Cape Town. Why is your first class different? That is what you should be writing about. So first class, we will be able to see it from the academic documents. But how can you write this thing differently? So you can say, I graduated in the best 1% of your set. You did not just win a convocation award, but you have mentions in the dean list. Tell us about these things. First class is the average. It's what other people have also achieved. But what is so special about your first class? The second one is, I finished with second class lower due to bad start of my studies. And here I would want somebody to contribute. How do you think this person could have said this in a better way? Because when you say second class lower, well, there are people who are first class, there are people who are second class upper. Why? Why you? Why should we be able to consider you when you had second class lower? Let me get someone. I don't know if Barak is here. Barak, are you back?
Yes. Hello, Lidanguka. Are you able to hear
Yes,
me?
Barak. Thank you. Barak, what do you think is wrong with this sentence number 2? How could have this person done it better?
We have, I finished with second class lower division due to a bad start of my study. So I think the only problem here is the grading system. And one thing that this person needs to do is he or she has to get the experience, work experience first before acquiring a scholarship. I think that's the answer, according to me.
Thank you so much. Experience.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, Barak. Now, you can see here, this is how you can write it in a better way. Despite seemingly unavoidable challenges, my drive for impact not only made me finish with 68% overall, I pressed further to garner 3 more additional certifications in my field. So basically, okay, you are not lamenting that you got a second lower, but you're telling us that you went further and you got some certification in the field. So you have some experience. But you're not making us see that the second lower is something that you are so negative about it. You see? So it's important for you to give us that mood when we are reading your application essay. Number 3, Nigeria has no constant electricity and people cannot go about doing their business easily. I don't know if we have anybody from Nigeria in this room here today. But if I look, we have people from Ghana. Ghana is next to Nigeria. Emmanuel, what do you think about this sentence? How could this person have done it differently?
I'm not thinking about it, but I think Nigeria has no constant electricity and people cannot go about doing business easily. So I think the person should not only state only the problem, but should also talk about the measures which has been placed in like fixing that situation.
Yeah, thank you so much. So this problem is so negative, like it's so negative when you just state this, but again, you have not given us an opportunity to quantify what you're talking about. Maybe the person who's reading your essay is from, let's say, Budapest. He doesn't know anything about Nigeria. So when you say he doesn't have electricity, like he thinks maybe there's totally no electricity. So what are you talking about? You need to be able to give some data. So you can say the statistics drawn from OPEC. Now, when you mention OPEC, everybody knows OPEC. So the statistics from OPEC between 2012 and 2016 reveal that Nigeria stands as 8th largest producer of crude oil globally. But it's however saddening that the country is supposed to sell petrol cheaper than water, still imports her refined products. So you have given us a context of this problem. But again, you have referred to an international organization, which is OPEC, that deals with the oil-producing countries. So we can go to OPEC and we can refer this. But when you just say Nigeria has no electricity, I mean, what are you talking about? Like it's so subjective. The statement is so subjective. So give data. Data is so important. I mean, you are an intellectual, so give some data. So those 3 sentences, I hope that as we continue to write our essays, we'll be able to guide us. Do not just write your sentences, but try to think, how can you write them in a way that the person who is reading them can be able to refer somewhere or can be able to get the context of that problem. These people do not come from our village. They are not from Kumasi or Takoradi or from some place in Nigeria or some place in Nairobi in Kenya. These people are from different places. So if you can refer from an international organization, you can refer from the United Nations, you can refer from the EU or from the African Union. It's very, very important that you give that umbrella reference. So those are my few insights. I shared with Barak some essays, some SOPs that I've written with award-winning scholars before. I hope that he's going to share that with the participants after this session. And I hope that you also share this presentation with you. And now take it back to the hosts to take it back and maybe take us through the Q&A so that we can know the questions that I can answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, our guest lecturer. You've really enlightened us on how to craft award in facilitator. And also thank you to our guests. It's been about an hour and a half now. You stayed with us. So please, I'm sure that we have all been very attentive and we have some questions or curious about something. We have our guest lecturer here. Please, we've got into the Q&A section. So if you have any question that you would like to get an answer to or a contribution that you'd want to add to the conversation, please feel free to raise a hand or maybe leave it in the chat box and it can be attended to. But yes, I also personally have a question, Mr. Peter. So this is concerning the, write-up. Sometimes you are limited to provide your response in 500 words, 1 page. And, sometimes you don't have the opportunity to elaborate. I have a first class honors. That sounds more simplistic to say that I won awards, this valedictorian. That would add up to more words. So how would I want to, come about with this if I'm limited to 500 words? Thank you.
Thank you so much, bro. So, like I said, it's very important to know the assessment criteria of a specific scholarship. So if a scholarship is so much interested about my grades, then it's very important that I expound more on those grades. You get it? But if a scholarship is so much, the assessment criteria is maybe on leadership qualities, then it's important that I expound on the leadership qualities. It's about impact to the society, then I focus more on the impact to the society. So what is important is, what does the scholarship organization wants to hear? If he wants to hear about my grades, I will talk about them maximally. If he wants to hear about leadership, I will talk about leadership. I will explain it and everything. And I have shared my SOP for the Stipendium Angaricum. It was only 1 page, and I was able to elaborate a lot of things. So just know what the scholarship needs and give it maximally in those words.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Please, do we have any questions coming in from our dear members? Please feel free to raise a hand and you'll be enabled to ask your question, please. We have Amos. Amos, you have a question? Are we all satisfied? Are we not curious? Do we not want to make any submission? It's a safe space, so please feel free.
I don't know if they're able to unmute. I saw people from Kenya here. Jenny, Amutu,
Yes.
Odhiambo, Odwar, Tracy, Otieno. I'd love to hear from you guys. Which scholarship are you guys applying to at the moment, or where do you guys want to study?
Yes, Tracy, you can speak. Yes. Tracy?
Are they able to unmute?
Okay, so there's no feedback from Tracy too. Please, if you okay, so now if you understand everything and you are content, let's see a reaction. Or perhaps, Mr. Peter, you have a question too for us.
Basically, I am just interested to know which places are people applying to, what is their progress, what are some of the challenges that maybe they are maybe meeting that they would love my. Yeah, I see Jani Agut was raised their hand.
Yes, beautiful.
Jani?
Miss Jani, you are loud. Let's hear from you, please.
So good evening from Kenya. Can you
Good
hear me?
evening. Yeah, you're very much audible. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm inquiring about my scholarship application to the China Council Scholarship. And basically, out of everything that Mr. Peter has talked about, I have understood okay, it applies to several other scholarships that I have applied to that I'm planning to apply to. But in this case, okay, it's just like a general application, but you're asked to write the statement of purpose. So this one, you don't really have a specific cause or a specific field in which you're applying, but you're asked about areas of interest. For example, I was applying to the Masters in Finance and Economics and Masters in International Business and Management. So I don't really know how to tailor my statement of purpose to fit these two fields that I have to apply. Like for option 1, you're asked to put which is your first preference, then your second preference, because the scholarship is being handled from the council, not from the institution. But again, you're asked which university of preference you have. So I don't really know how to write a statement of purpose to tailor, to balance between these two institutions and these two application areas. Probably if you could answer that, I would appreciate.
Okay, thank you. So if I can hear you, Jani, you're basically applying to maybe 2 institutions. There are different courses, and again, you are not very sure if it's the institution that might read this SOP or if it's the council that will get this SOP as the first people. Your case basically is almost the case with the Stipendium Angaricum scholarship, because when you're doing the application, the letter first reaches the scholarship organization, then it's forwarded to the school. So basically, when somebody is writing the SOP, it's supposed to like it's supposed to address both the council and also the school. I think what I'd say in that case is this: if you cannot apply, you cannot write two different SOPs, then you can make it a little bit general, because what you have talked about, both of your courses, they are business related. So can you find something that you can talk about that doesn't have to mention masters in business and doesn't have to mention masters in, you can say you want to study business. And when you want to study business, it can be business management, it can be business economics, it can be something. But can you find something to talk about that can encompass the two masters and can also mention something to do with the council? So you can even talk about the trade between China and the rest of the world, or the trade between China and Africa. And what are your insights from that trade? Because that therefore encompasses or takes care of the council. Because when the council is reading your essay, they want to understand if you know maybe the China relation between China and other places. Like they have to be happy about your scholarship essay. So that is what I'd say. When you're writing it, make it a little bit general to make sure that it fits in the two courses that you're applying to. But again, put something that will make the people in the council happy. Talk about China trade with Africa, China trade with the rest of the world. Talk about maybe some top companies in China and how they're trading, what you're learning from them, how this would be instrumental to you. So you must not talk about the schools directly. You can talk about China generally and how it's trading. You can even find a case study of a company in China and how it's revolutionizing its consumer patterns and the trade and all that. So you must not like find a specific lecturer. You can talk about China in general. I hope that answers you, Agutu. Jani? Jani, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you. I understood everything.
Okay, thank you so much. And all the best in your applications.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Emmanuel, are you trying to talk? I saw your
Yeah, I wanted
microphone
to say
was
something.
okay.
I
You feel
wanted
free.
I'm done with university and I finished. I'm done with my national service, so I'm now planning to apply to schools in the United States. I've written GRE just recently in February, and so I'm planning to apply August. Yes, so far what he has taught, like everything is okay. So I'll go and implement it in what I'm doing.
You're welcome, Emmanuel. We have a lot of Ghanaians here, so I'm very happy to be interacting with you guys. Emmanuel, which part of Ghana do you come from?
Greater Accra. I mean, I stay at Sakumono.
Ah, amazing. At some point in my life, I wanted to apply to the University of Ghana, Legon. It's a very beautiful campus for economics, very renowned, a very beautiful campus, especially from an aerial view. So I really wanted to apply to that campus. There are people from Ghana who had really encouraged me, the likes of Komla Dumo. I used to watch him in BBC and I was like, wow, I'd love to get to Ghana one day. It's still a dream that I've not yet actualized. So I'm really happy to be interacting with you guys.
I also went to University of Ghana. I studied BA in political science and sociology.
Amazing. Happy to interact with you.
Yes. So thank you so much, Mr. Peter. That was I was very curious when you mentioned Kumasi and Takrady. I'm like, have you been to Ghana before? So I was thinking, so it's good to know that you are interested. University of Ghana actually is a very beautiful university. And yeah, myself, I also studied my bachelor's at the University of Ghana, and it's a beautiful campus. So you are welcome anytime. You
Thank you.
pass through
I think,
Ghana to pass by and visit the campus.
yeah, I'll pass by there even if it's just taking a picture in the campus.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Please, do we have any more contributions, any submissions, any applications, updates? Maybe you want to ask a question, or you're probably maybe considering application, or maybe you have applied already or something. It would be nice to hear from you. Elizabeth, are you here?
We have Odhiambo raising his hand.
Yes. Okay. Please, yeah, you are audible. You can unmute and
yes.
make your
Hello. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening. Yes, you're audible. We can hear you.
Yes. So thank you. This is very important, and I'm glad I'm meeting you. So I'm not yet prepared with the applications. I'm still on my course in regards to preparations about the scholarships. So one thing I've learned here is that probably statement of purpose should be very specific with respect to every scholarship that you are applying for. So it really means that for every scholarship, I will have to fine tune my SOP to meet the standards of each and every scholarship program, if I'm right. Is that the case?
Exactly, Odhiambo. I mean, Odhiambo, if you're going to a wedding, you will need to put a different dressing. If you are going to play football, you put a different dressing, or if you're going to an interview. So the same with scholarship. You cannot send one SOP in every place. You have to specify. You have to keep changing it. The same thing with the CV. You have always to edit it to meet the specific requirements of different scholarships. Just to give you an overview, I applied for like 9 scholarships before I finally got the specific scholarship that I am currently in. So I wasn't using one SOP for all those scholarships. I kept changing them. So it's very important that you keep changing them.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. So within the chats, from Daniel is asking, are there open scholarships for masters right now? Mr. Peter, do you know any?
Yeah, Mandela Rhodes Scholarship is open for masters in South Africa. You can check it. Even the Australia Africa Scholarship is open. Check their website. I'll find a whole PDF for the scholarship. I will send it for all the open scholarships. But immediately just check Mandela Rhodes in South Africa and also check Australia Africa Scholarship. Those are open at the moment.
Yes, thank you for that. Please, Tracy also would like to find out, how can you know a particular scholarship is looking after, so that one focuses on that particular criteria?
Yeah, Tracy, the best answer is, let me give you an example. The men who are here, and especially those who have girlfriends, how do you know what a lady wants when you want the lady to be your girlfriend? I mean, you do not just speculate what the lady wants. You spend more time with the lady and you get to know her likes, her dislikes, what she wants. Then you start giving her that thing. And you hope that one day that lady can be yours. It's the same example with the scholarships. You cannot know when you have not interacted with the scholarship, when you have not interacted with the website. So if you have not checked the Mandela Rhodes website, then you cannot know that it wants people from a specific places. If you are talking about Commonwealth scholarship, you cannot know which kind of people Commonwealth wants if at all you have not gone to the website and read about Commonwealth. So just like you go for a lady and you talk to her and you know what she wants before she can be yours, is the same thing with the scholarship. You have to go to their websites, learn about it, take your time, look at it, relook at it, keep looking at it before you even start writing your SOP, so that you can learn everything about that scholarship. Tracy, I hope you are answered. It's so bad you're a lady and I was giving a lady's example here. Yeah. Gianni, you're talking about masters and about study plan. So basically, this one is different with different scholarships. And that is why it's important to know. For example, I do know that Commonwealth at times asks for a study plan. And I also do know that other universities, for example, in my case, Stipendium doesn't ask for a study plan. But basically, it's important to look at the curriculum of the universities that you are going to, or to look at the curriculum of the scholarship. What are they doing? And what does studies in that university look like? So you do not just craft a study plan from your own perspective. For example, in my universities, we have lectures and we have seminars. So before you come up with a study plan, you are able to see what is the workload of that specific university, so that you can know when you will be studying, you can know when you'll be starting your research plan, you can know when you'll be having breaks. So basically the outline for a study plan, you can get it anywhere. But then for you to write the specifics, you need to look at the curriculum for a specific university, and you need to look at the instruction in the website of this specific scholarship. Then you can make the specific study plan for every scholarship. Jenny.
Please, do we have any more contributions? Any more questions? Janu is typing.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay. So Peter, thank you so much for honoring our invitation. I am so happy that you took it upon yourself to lecture us today on how to craft amazing SOPs for award-winning opportunities. And I am sure that everyone here too can give an account of some positive thing that has been taken from this class that you hosted. Yes, so I think we have Tracy also trying to type something. It's very important that we avail ourselves for opportunities. And one opportunity that is very good is the scholarship opportunity. And as Mr. Peter mentioned, we have to be able to carve amazing SOP so that we stand out amongst a lot of people. I remember somewhere last year, I applied for one scholarship. I think it was in Italy or something. And when I was invited for an interview meeting, I noticed that there were a lot of people that were in the Zoom meeting. And that was kind of like a shock, because I thought like, oh, come on, I've been invited for a Zoom meeting. But then there were other people, a lot of people that were there. And that was a very big scare for me, because I'm like, hey, how do I stand out? And we were made to, within some few seconds, introduce ourselves, like just talk about what we have got to offer, who we are and what we got to offer. More like a business pitch. And I think since there was sort of like no privacy and all, everybody was, mentioning, oh, I have 5 years of experience. I have worked with this, that. And when it got to my turn, I had just finished my bachelor's. What sort of experience? And hearing all the other people, speak to their achievements and their years of experience, I was a bit shocked. And my responses, I think it wasn't really in place. And at the end of the day, I wasn't selected. So afterwards, I'm like, I have to be able to stand out. Even if I'm given a 1 minute opportunity, I have to be able to, say the relevant things, what matters. Because obviously we all have different experiences and different backgrounds, and knowing also what they actually wanted. So I think I've taken a thing or two from this and how I can mention my achievements, not just about my good grades and everything. So thank you so much, Mr. Peter. It's been an amazing session. Yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right.
Please, if you still have a question, we are still open to take your question or a contribution or an experience you'd like to share. That's okay too. Okay. So, Mr. Peter, anyway, we don't have any more questions. Any last words for us?
I mean, maybe I have a question for you. Do you have to serve in the national service? I had Manuel talking about something of that sort before you go to the university or something.
Please come again.
I had him talking about national service. Is it like you have to serve somewhere in Ghana before you join university or something?
Yeah. That is if you're already in Ghana or like you are a
Like
foreign applicant.
you are Ghanaian.
Yes, okay. So you have to have a high school certificate. That's the West African Senior High School certificate before you are eligible to apply to the university with good grades, of course. And I think we also have another track of admission, that is the matured students. You've never been to SHS or senior high school and you're old enough, you are like 25 and above, that is like the mature student route. You can apply and you'll be made to sit in and write some exam, some entrance exam. And if you are able to meet the cutoff, then you are selected. So basically it's through the high school route with your certificate and also you being old enough as a mature student. Yeah, so that is like the options that are available.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think I have nothing more to say, just to say that I think one of your own from Nigeria, Chinua Achebe, once said that if you do not come from your home, like if you never leave your home, you can always think that your mother is the best cook. So it's important that you visit other people and to know how they also cook. So I do hope that you're able to apply for your scholarships, you're able to get them, and you are also able to experience
And
different
win, yes.
and win, experience different kind of lives, so that the stereotypes that we have about other people or that other people have about us, we can find a way of dealing with those stereotypes, and we can also get back to our continent and improve it and make it great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Peter, for joining us. And without much ado, I would like to say a few words about YGLN. To those that have not heard of what YGLN is and interested in joining, YGLN is a global network. YGLN stands for Young Global Leaders Network. So it's a platform that is for accomplished youth leaders from different facets of life. We welcome them to train and mentor the younger generation so that they can be able to gain insights, tools, and opportunities to be able to engage with key stakeholders and in their various fields of endeavor so that they can be able to achieve their goals and be able to be self-aware on the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and also to be able to participate in the various sectors of the country. That is, if it's the governance sector, if it's the NGO sector, if it is in the entrepreneurship side, all of those things are really covered. And so if you are interested in joining YGLN, feel free to search younggloballeadersnetwork.com and you can find more details about YGLN. And you can join us from there. And yes, I didn't also introduce myself. So yeah, my name is James. I'm on Kwai I'm from Ghana, and I am a project officer with YGLN. And I have with me Leader Barak, who is also a project officer, ensuring the success of the masterclass webinar that we've been having. And yes, every month we have a webinar on selected topics so as to enhance the capacity of the youth across Africa. Thank you all for joining. If there is nothing more to say or to add, I'd end this meeting. Thank you.